Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. Be sure to check me out over on Rumble. There you'll find all of my stuff from YouTube, plus my political and social commentary and weekly current events, which YouTube frowns on. Links to my Rumble channel, as well as my other YouTube channels, and links to let you order my books are in the description of this video. If you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I welcome your comments, even if you disagree with me. Now, on with the video. Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an unexplained incident video on a man named Rudolph Fentz, F-E-N-T-Z, Fentz. I read this story and I had to do some more research. I read it actually a couple of weeks ago, and I had to do some more research, and I had to find some other articles on it because I try to verify all the stuff that I put up here, at least as well as I can. The older the story, the harder it is to verify because the fewer sources are available. Modern stuff, it's all over the news, you know. But back then, this took place in 1950, so you know sometimes the older stuff is a little harder to verify. In 1950, law enforcement officers responded to a report of an automobile accident. A pedestrian had been hit by a taxi cab in Times Square. The pedestrian was pronounced dead on the scene. Witnesses reported that the man had been acting strangely, gawking at buildings and cars and wandering around as though he was lost. He wore clothing from a bygone era. Upon examining the body, he was found to have coins and currency which had long been out of circulation, but was in pristine condition. Also, he possessed artifacts from businesses that had long ceased to exist in New York City. He had a brass slug from a saloon and a bill from a livery stable. A bill from a livery stable in 1950. He also had a letter postmarked 1876. Identification on the body showed that the man's name was Dr. Rudolph Fentz Sr., with a birth date in 1846. The home address on the envelope was from a building containing a business establishment. There was nobody living there. The ID showed that the man was 30 years old. There were no records for the doctor, and there were no matches for his fingerprints anywhere on file. Tags on his clothing were from a tailor shop unheard of, and his hat, the tag in his hat, was from a shop long closed down. Finally, the cop that was investigating the case found an old phone book and found that there was a listing for a Rudolph Fentz. This man was in his 60s and had passed away 5 years prior. The man's widow recounted a story wherein her husband's father had gone missing on an evening stroll in the 1870s. A missing persons report dated 1876 seemed to corroborate her story. It listed the missing man's clothing and description as identical to the clothing that the man that was killed in Times Square was wearing. This is crazy. This guy literally popped up in Times Square, New York, from 1876, and there's no explanation for it. Everything points that this story is real. Everything that the cop investigated proved the case. There is no question about it. I've done videos on time travel and time slips. I even did a video on a man who evidently time traveled in Ukraine. Go and check those videos out. I also did a video on portals, though that one primarily dealt with portals to other dimensions through which evil entities enter our world. Stuff like this intrigues me because there's so many things about our world we don't understand. Is it possible that there are temporal portals scattered through our world all over the place, apparently, and evidently people can't see them because they walk through them and they're like, "Holy crap, where am I at?" You know, people unwittingly, innocent, unwitting people are displaced through time. So you go for a stroll one night and you're walking along, boom, you're there because you stepped through a portal you couldn't see, or is somebody doing this? Is it possible? I've heard this claim made. I don't put a lot of stock in it, but I figure I'd mention it. aliens abducted the guy back in the 1876 and then kept him for a long time and then dropped him off here in New York in 1950. That, again, I don't know. At this point, pretty much everything's on the table. The case of Rudolph Fentz seemed to suggest that there are portals through our world. Maybe they move. They're not stationary. Maybe they're malevolent. We don't know. Maybe they're natural. We don't know. But for whatever reason, people move through time unexpectedly. They don't know they're doing it. It's not intentional. It's not like they're mad scientists in the garage with a big machine. Oh, I will travel through time. No, none of that stuff. This guy went for a walk and ended up in Times Square. From 1876 to 1950. I mean, that's something like 80, 74, 80 years, whatever, later. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. But here it is. This guy actually did it. The only thing they didn't have in 1950 was DNA. They could have tested it. But that's just crazy. Anybody else have any thoughts on it or any ideas, or if you've heard more about this story, put it in the comments. I'm sure we'd all love to read it. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. We elect cookie-cutter politicians every single election cycle. Yes men who maintain the status quo and do just enough to make us believe the system still works. Imagine, if you will, a president who actually tries to fix things. If you like action, political intrigue, and a righteous crusade, check out my political thriller, The Righteous President.